Hey guys and girls, Packboy26 here with a little helpful video. So I've been playing around trying to record my PS4 without having to have any hardware or specialized hardware like Elgato or capture cards, etc. Found a little trick you can do as long as you're running, you've got an okay Windows PC or even a Mac. You can use the PS4 Remote Play. So I've got this running and I am using OBS software and link these two together. So right now I'll show you what you do. So basically all I've got is my PS4 controller that is running via USB all the way into my computer. Once you've installed the PS4 Remote Play, which you can find easily just going through Google, you can click on the start and this will start up. So as you can see, you can now see my PlayStation screen. Sometimes you can glitch out going in between, especially if you're recording. Basically close out your OBS and open back up. It'll click over. But you can see here, so I'll press the button and I'll say when I press the button and you'll see the lag difference. So I'm going to say now. As you can see, straight away. So we'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. So it's pretty almost instantaneous. Maybe a couple of milliseconds lag. There'd probably be more of a lag if I was using Bluetooth directly to my computer, but using cable to keep the latency down. So as you can see, I will pop open and we'll run some Destiny 2 and see how that goes and play through, and you can see connecting, signing in, verifying, sound will cut down a bit because I've got the game volume down a little bit lower. So I'm currently running this on a 50 down, 25 up connection, and it seems to be running fine. I've played it a little bit and haven't had any issues. There we go, volume's dropped down. So yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll go on and we'll test it out and see how you go. You may see a little green number at the bottom right hand corner. That's on my PC I have a thing that gives me my frames per second, just so I can keep an eye on them. I myself, if you want to look on the specs for the PS4 Remote Play, they're not too high from what I read. Basically it says you have to run Windows 8.1, 64-bit or 10, that's the only downside, or it runs from El Capitan up on a Mac. It does specify video on a PC but not on a Mac preference, which is stupid, because obviously they both have video. So let's have a look around and we'll pop in. So let's just go to Titan and we will run around and just do a few things and see how that's up. We've got a public event coming in, so we'll go and do that and we'll see. So the downside to this is, from what I can tell, especially with quality difference, is obviously streaming it, watching it and playing it, I'm getting full 1080 or just slightly over. But recording and streaming through, I think it's coming through at about 720 based on size of the file and stuff like that. I haven't looked too far into it, but obviously I believe that's limited by the Remote Play program. And if you noticed, my PC is saying that it's meant to be 60 frames per second, but it's coming through at 30 frames per second on the Remote Play. So you can play the game off your main monitor and record it at 30 frames and not have any issues, and this is all done without having to introduce any extra hardware or equipment that you need. So yeah, so as you can see, playing around with no issue, no lag, no latency whatsoever. It all depends on what you want to do with this, obviously. If you do decide to go for, I would say, God damn it, not good with the sniper. If you do decide to go for Crucible, you might find there might just be enough lag with that, especially with some of those players there that tend to like kill you before you even notice. But yeah, for most in-game and raid and stuff like that, and as you can see, public event, everything seems to be working fine. And obviously you can change that by fiddling around with your sensitivity based on this, and see how that goes. Obviously the higher it is, the quicker it'll move, but then you get, obviously, just like if you change the sensitivity, you got to get used to it. So it all depends on you and how you play, and it's all about getting used to that. But for the fact that, oh, I missed that, you don't have to get any extra hardware or any extra anything like that. You can just go and download this and run this off a OK PC and a PlayStation. That's all you need. When you do set up the program, it does ask you to log in for your PSN, and basically what happens is, did we kill him or did we lose? Nope, he just disappeared. So basically what happens is, ooh, what happened there? An explodey guy. Hey, he came back. Okay. What happens is basically your signals through your control pad are sent through to the PlayStation. So if you were to do this, say, at internet cafe, when you have your when you have a laptop or something on you, you can do that, and someone could be watching the game at home or watching the PlayStation at home. So you're remote controlling it with your own account, but somewhere else, which is, I find is pretty cool. So if you have a decent, say for instance, a decent laptop, instead of having to unplug your PlayStation that most people have set up to behind a TV or something like that, you just take PlayStation, take your laptop, a controller, and a USB cable. You just need a decent connection, and away you go. And I got a legendary. So let's return back to orbit. Do 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 do. So yeah, in terms of my PC specs, I believe there it is overpowered for what you need. But let me quickly have a look at what it suggests. So I'm pretty sure it's not anything too up there last time I checked that. So let's change that. So I've currently changed my main display, back to my PC. I'm currently moving around on that, and I can still go through using my other two displays, which are running the remote play, not the direct feed, quite easily without any latency or lag. Obviously this all, as I said, depends on your internet and your connection, how many people are using your thing. Both my PlayStation and, well, my PlayStation's wired through the network cable Ethernet, which is only a 100 connection based on what's built into there, running through the TP-Link hub I've got sitting there, and then my PC is running on gigabit directly through, so that's fine. PS4 Remote play specs. And we're going through. So yeah, so it says here basically you can run it on any Windows PC or any Mac. So according to these guys here, you're looking at, so your PC standards, I'll put these on the bottom of the video. So your PC recommendations: a computer with either the following operating systems, as I said, 8.1, 32, 40, 20, 64, 10, 32, 64, should be on 64 by then. An Intel i5, a 560M, which is the mobile processor of a 2.6 or faster, so that's if you have a laptop, or an i5 2450M at 2.5 or faster. So those are quite old, obviously, Intel chips. So I think we're up to the 8th series now, 7th series, so Coffee Lake or something like that. So yeah, most computers these days, or decent in the last couple of years, will do that. So we'll continue with what's the rest that we've got here. So obviously you need 100 meg of Storage, you need 2 gig or more of RAM. Standard these days is 8 gig, so that's fine. It needs to do a resolution of at least 1024 by 768 or higher, a sound card, and obviously a USB port. It's pretty much everything these days have that. So on the Mac, see, this is a little bit different. On the Mac, basically it says here that you need to have the following operating systems over, or even Yosemite. Yosemite, El Capitan, Mac OS Sierra, OS Sierra. Um, as I said, the same as, actually less, for the i5 520M processor, which is the 2.4 GHz or faster. 40 megs of RAM, 2 gigs of hard drive, and a USB port. So I find that a little difference where obviously the PC requires a bit more specs, a bit more range, but yeah, you don't have to have the flashes thing. So I'm currently running it on a i5 6500. No, actually that's right, I changed that because my motherboard had an error earlier this year and decided not to turn on one day. Oh no, yeah, so I'm running an i5 6500 3.2, 16 gig of DDR4 RAM with a GTX 1070, which is overkill, and it runs at fine, 3 displays, etc. So yeah, I thought I would just go over this and share this with you guys and let you know. It's quite easy to do, and you don't have to go and buy anything or have any other extra hardware. You don't have to go get a game capture or an Elgato or anything. I do have an Elgato, but due to updates and stuff like that, they made mine not work with sound, etc., which really annoyed me. So hey. Oh, and I'm also running the sound directly from my PC. So I'm not my headset that I'm currently wearing is directly plugged into my PC, and I get the direct on sound cues from the PlayStation as they happen on screen. There's no latency there as well. And obviously I can do this in voiceover, top of stuff, and talk to other people at the same time, which I also find is quite cool because then you can record it under one program, unlike a few other people that do recording in different programs and they've got to do clap syncs, etc., and then match it all up. Thought it's just easier, especially if you want to give it a try and go. Then yeah, so what I'll do is I'll link in the description below a link to OBS and to the remote play, and you guys play around yourself and see how it goes. That's all from me. Catch you on the other side.